After that last speech, it's hard to follow that one, but I will do my best. I heard one of our representatives here speak about one piece of the bill, and it's the only person that spoke on it, that changes the 15-day rule that MA will pay for somebody, and let's just call it what it is, drug rehabilitation. This is something that the governor wants, something the administration wants, and in all honesty, it's something that every single person in the General Assembly should want, because I don't think there's one person in here that I work with that doesn't know somebody who has been affected by drug abuse. And I could say opioid abuse, but it usually always leads to a heroin problem. And 15 days, you're not getting over a heroin addiction. This bill removes that. That's just one thing we want to think about. It doesn't restrict the funding to the 15 days. One of the other things that was just touched on very, very slightly, and this is probably the most crucial part of the bill that nobody has talked about yet. And back in 2005, Policy Director Donna Cooper worked for Governor Rendell, Policy Director. And she advocated for something that became law. She advocated for these premium payments, okay? Act 42 of 2005 established Section 454 of the Human Services Code, which allowed the Department of Human Services to request premium payments for these individuals at 200% of poverty level. Now, I want you to think about that. All of you who are afraid or against putting this into statute at 1,000%, it is currently under Act 42 of 2005 at 200%. If this doesn't become law, and we don't move this bar up 5 times from where it is now, and we will eventually get a different administration, and they implement this. Instead of this $50 kicking in and the sliding scale starting at $246,000, it will now start at $48,000. Today, if we implement this 1,000% over the federal poverty level, if we implement this, it affects between 4 and 5% of those families that are on this, okay? If we let it go at today's statute, if we don't change this, when the next administration comes in and they implement this, and they will, you've already heard what financial distress we're in, and they will. It will affect 73% of the people that are on it today. So you have your choice. You can either vote to move it from 200%, and please don't take my word for it, Google it, look it up. It's Act 42 of 2005. It's right there in black and white. It's at 200% today. We're actually trying to move it in the direction most of my colleagues that are against this bill want it to move in. So to vote no on this is to say, sooner or later, we're going to get most of the people caught up in this, rather than saying we're only going to get a few caught up in it, just the very wealthy. And one of the things that I kept hearing over and over and over during the last presidential election was the wealthy aren't paying their fair share. Now we're asking those that make roughly $250,000 a year to pay a little bit, and the same people that were saying the wealthy aren't paying their fair share were saying, oh no, we don't want them to pay a penny. We want it to be free. So somebody that makes $10 million a year, to be grotesque with my example, can live in this state, have a child with these needs, and not pay a penny toward the premium. Is that fair? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Who does it affect? I also heard, and God bless those that have children that are confined, that are extremely sick, and we want to help them, believe me. As Vice Chair of Children and Youth, I want to tell you, I've heard it all, I've seen it all, and I want to tell you, we want to help those children. But the number one diagnosis for children that are on the program is autism. They can be very, very functional. Number 2 is ADD, ADHD. Again, can be very functional. We can limit the scope of what we think about to those that are confined to a wheelchair or those that are confined to a bed. But yes, that's some of them, and God bless those people, and God bless those families. But the vast majority is not them. And if the family is making $250,000 a year, we have to think about, are we going to cheat poor people down the road by not making those that make a lot of money pay just a little bit towards their premium? If they're making that much money, they should have some skin in this game. You also heard that the increase for medical assistance each year goes up between 6 and 7%. Our revenues coming in go up less than 3%. If we don't figure out a way to get a little bit more infusion into this system, if we don't figure that out, less people are going to have benefits. And the people it's going to hurt are those that need them the most. Please vote yes for this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.